My house was quiet that Tuesday morning. The only sound was the hum of the refrigerator. I measured the coffee grounds with my usual spoon, 2 level scoops of the dark roast. I poured the water slowly. The ritual grounded me. I was 68 years old. My life had settled into a gentle pattern, widowed for 7 years, children grown and living in other cities. The doorbell rang at 10:15. I wasn't expecting anyone. Through the side light, I saw my daughter-in-law, Elise. She held a cardboard tray with 2 coffee cups. She smiled brightly. It was a weekday. She should have been at work. I opened the door. The cool autumn air slipped in. "Hi, Margaret. I was in the neighborhood. Thought I'd surprise you." She lifted the tray. "I brought your favorite, a latte with an extra shot." That was thoughtful. I stepped back to let her in. She smelled of expensive perfume and crisp air. She placed the coffees on the kitchen table. She shrugged off her tailored wool coat. "How are you?" she asked. Her eyes scanned the kitchen. They lingered on the pile of unopened mail on the counter. "I'm well. This is a nice surprise." "David sends his love. He's swamped at the firm." She took a sip of her own drink. "Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something, a little idea." David was my son, a partner at a corporate law firm. He was busy. He called every Sunday evening. Our conversations were brief. Elise was his second wife. They had been married for 5 years. She was an events planner. She was always full of ideas. "What's the idea?" I asked. "It's about this place." She gestured around my kitchen. "It's a lot for you, isn't it? The upkeep, the stairs, the garden." "I manage fine." "Of course you do. You're incredibly capable." She leaned forward. Her voice softened. "But David worries. We both do. What if you fell? What if the boiler acts up again? It's just a lot of stress for you, and for us, worrying from afar." I looked at my hands around the coffee cup. They were steady. "I'm not planning to move, Elise." "Oh no, not move, never," she laughed. It was a light, tinkling sound. "I'm talking about help, practical help. Let us handle the burdensome stuff, the bills, the house maintenance, the tedious things. Free up your time for what you love, your painting, your book club." I did enjoy my painting. The book club met once a month. The offer felt like care. It felt like family stepping in. "That's very kind," I said. "It's what family does." She pulled a folder from her large leather bag. It was sleek and professional. "I took the liberty of drafting a little agreement, a power of attorney, just for practical matters. So David and I can pay your bills if you're traveling, schedule repairs, deal with the insurance company. You know how impossible they are to talk to." She opened the folder. The document looked official. My name was typed in several places. "It's very limited," she said, pointing. "See, it specifies property and financial matters. It's just so we can help. You'd have all the time in the world, no more paperwork headaches." The thought was appealing. I did dislike the paperwork. The property tax forms, the insurance renewals. It was a constant low-grade annoyance. "I should read it," I said. "Absolutely, take your time." She slid the folder toward me. "No pressure at all, it's just an option to make your life easier." She finished her coffee. She talked about a client's wedding. The flowers were all wrong. She stayed for 20 more minutes. Then she kissed my cheek and left. The folder sat on my table. I picked it up later that afternoon. The language was dense. Legalese, phrases like in perpetuity and broad and general powers. It seemed to give David authority over all my assets, my house, my bank accounts, my investments. I called David that evening. "Hi, Mom." He sounded distracted. I could hear typing in the background. Elise brought over a document, a power of attorney. "Right, she mentioned it. It's a standard form. Everyone should have one. Honestly, I should have set one up for you years ago. It's a responsible thing to do." "It seems very broad." "It has to be effective. Otherwise, every time we need to call the plumber, we'd have to bother you for permission. This way, we can just handle it. Think of it as a gift of time. His logic was smooth. It was lawyer logic. It made my caution feel like fussiness. "I'll think about it," I said. "Please do. It would really ease my mind. I don't like thinking of you dealing with all that stuff alone." We talked about the weather then. He had to go. A conference call was starting. I placed the folder in my desk drawer. I didn't look at it again for a week. Elise stopped by the following Thursday. She brought soup from a good deli. She didn't mention the document. She helped me sort through a closet. She was efficient and cheerful. As she was leaving, she paused at the door. "Oh, Margaret, the bank called me about your checking account." "They called you?" "Well, they called the number on file for secondary contact. That's still Robert's old cell number. It forwards to me now. I handle the estate stuff for David's dad. Anyway, they said there was suspicious activity. A few small checks bounced. Probably just a timing issue with your pension deposit." I felt a flush of embarrassment. I balanced my checkbook meticulously, or I thought I did. "I'll call them," I said. I already straightened it out. It was their error, but it made me think. With that power of attorney, I could just be listed on the account as a convenience signer. Then I could monitor things, catch errors before they happen. She made it sound so sensible, a safety net. "I haven't signed the document yet," I said. "No rush, just something to consider," she smiled. "We just want to take care of you." After she left, I checked my bank statement online. I saw 2 small checks I'd written to the gardener. They were marked as returned. Insufficient funds. That was impossible. I had transferred money from savings the week before. I called the bank. I was on hold for 40 minutes. I spoke to a representative named Tyler. He was polite but confused. "The transfers from your savings were reversed, ma'am, per your request." "I never requested that." "It was done through online banking, from your registered device." "I don't use online banking for transfers." "The notes here say customer verbal confirmation via phone. We have a recording. Would you like to file a dispute?" The thought of filing a dispute was exhausting. It would mean more phone calls, more forms. Maybe it was a genuine bank error, a computer glitch. "Just fix it, please," I said. "I'll initiate a review. It can take 7 to 10 business days." I hung up. I felt tired. Maybe Elise was right. Maybe this was all too much. The world was getting complicated. Systems failed. Errors happened. I took the folder from my desk. I read the first page again. My eyes glazed over the paragraphs. I trusted my son. That was the heart of it. I trusted him. I signed it on a Friday morning. I used my good pen, the one Robert had given me. I signed my name carefully. Margaret Ann Walsh. I dated it. I needed a witness. Elise had said a neighbor would do. I walked next door. My neighbor, Ben, was retired. He was in his garage woodworking. I showed him the last page, just my signature line. "Just need a witness, Ben, for a household help document." "Sure thing, Maggie." He wiped his hands on a rag. He signed his name. He didn't ask to see the rest. Why would he? "Everything okay?" he asked. "Oh, yes, just making things easier for my son, to help me out." "Good man, you're David," he nodded. "You're lucky." "I am," I said. I mailed the document to David's office address, the one Elise had written on a sticky note. I felt a sense of relief. The decision was made. The paperwork was done. A week passed, then 2. Elise's visits became more frequent. She started coming every few days. She would bring groceries. I was at the market anyway. She would take my car for an oil change. "It's due, and I know you forget." She began to reorganize my kitchen. "You'll find things so much easier this way." The pots I'd used for 40 years were moved to a high shelf. New, lighter ones appeared in their place. One day, she brought a young man with her. "This is Kyle. He's a tech whiz. He's going to look at your computer, make sure it's secure." Kyle was polite. He sat at my desk in the den. He worked for an hour. He said he was installing security software. He said he was syncing my devices for convenience. All set, Mrs. Walsh. Your son and daughter-in-law will have access now, too, for tech support. They can help you remotely if anything freezes. It seemed helpful. I thanked him. After that, my computer felt different. It was slower. Sometimes a program would close unexpectedly. I mentioned it to Elise. It's just the new security protocols, Margaret. It's for your protection. So much identity theft these days. She started to manage my calendar. She added appointments for me, a doctor's checkup, a hearing test, an appointment with a financial advisor. David set this up, a colleague of his, just to review your portfolio, make sure everything's optimal for your retirement. I went to the appointment. The advisor, a man named Charles, was very friendly. He had my financial statements already, spread out on his desk. David provided these, just so we don't waste your time. He asked me questions. Some were simple. Some were about my long-term care preferences. He asked about my will. It's old, I said. It leaves everything to David and Claire, my children, equally. And you're still comfortable with that, given Claire's situation. Claire was my daughter. She lived in Oregon. She was an artist. She made a modest living. She was happy. Her situation was that she wasn't a lawyer. She wasn't married to Elise. Yes, I'm comfortable. Of course, he made a note. Sometimes with one child more financially stable, parents consider adjusting, to be fair in a practical sense, but it's your decision. He recommended shifting some investments, more conservative, less growth potential but more stable income. He had documents for me to sign. I told him I would have my son review them. He already has, Charles said, smiling. These are his suggestions. I felt a pang of something then. It was faint, a feeling of being bypassed. My financial life was being discussed without me, but it was done out of concern, out of love. I signed the papers. The seasons changed. Fall deepened. The leaves turned and fell. Elise suggested I not rake this year. It's a huge job. We'll hire the boy down the street. She hired him. He did a poor job. Leaves clogged the gutters. Then came the first real betrayal. It was quiet. It was almost polite. It was about Thanksgiving. For decades, Thanksgiving was at my house, even after Robert died. Claire would fly in. David would come. We would cook together. It was a loud, messy, happy day. In mid-October, Elise called. Margaret, we need to talk about Thanksgiving. I've already ordered the turkey, I said. Here's the thing. David has a major case going to trial right after the holiday. He's exhausted. The thought of traveling, I just can't do that to him. He could rest here. He always does. It's not restful, though, is it? The cooking, the cleanup, the noise. Claire's flight is always so stressful for her, and for you, having everyone underfoot. I was silent. I've booked a wonderful trip for us instead, she continued. Her voice was bright. A resort in Arizona, all-inclusive, sunshine, spa treatments, no cooking, no dishes. David can truly relax. You'll be pampered. What about Claire? Claire's invited, of course, but she said she has a gallery show that weekend. She can't make it, so it will just be you, me, and David. A quiet, restorative break. I called Claire. She was surprised. Arizona? No, Mom. I haven't heard anything about Arizona. My show isn't until December. I was planning to come to you. I have my ticket. My heart sank. A cold, clear understanding began to form. It was a tiny crack in the wall. Let me talk to David, I said. I called David's office. His assistant said he was in depositions all week. I left a message. He called back 3 days later. Mom, Elise told me, I'm so sorry about the mix-up with Claire, a miscommunication, but the Arizona plan is solid. It's booked. It will be great. You'll love it. I want to have Thanksgiving here, in my home. There was a long pause. I heard him sigh. Mom, be reasonable. It's booked, non-refundable. And frankly, the house isn't really set up for hosting anymore. The dining room is half your painting studio. It's chaotic. This will be better for everyone, especially you. You work so hard every year. Take the year off. The word chaotic stung. My home was not chaotic. It was lived in. I don't want to go to Arizona. Another pause. His tone changed. It became softer, more concerned. Margaret, are you feeling all right? You've seemed a little resistant lately, a little forgetful. Elise mentioned you missed a doctor's appointment last week. I had not missed any appointment. I didn't miss it. It wasn't on my calendar. It was. She put it there. You just didn't see it. It's okay. It happens. Look, let's not fight. Come to Arizona. Let us take care of you. If you hate it, we'll never do it again. Promise. It was easier to yield, to avoid the fight, to believe the best. I went to Arizona. The resort was beautiful. It was also isolating. I had a lovely room, but I felt like a guest, a tourist. David was on his phone constantly. Elise scheduled every minute, aqua aerobics, guided nature walks. I pleaded a headache and stayed in my room. I missed the smell of my own oven. I missed the noise. I felt erased. We returned home. December arrived. Elise came over to help me with Christmas cards. She brought her laptop. She had a list of addresses. Many were outdated, she said. She updated them. She also had a new batch of mail for me. She had taken over collecting it from my box, for convenience. I saw a letter from my property insurance company. It was opened. Why is this opened? I asked. Oh, I called them about a question on the policy. Saved you the trouble. She didn't look up from her laptop. I read the letter. It was a notice of non-renewal. It said a recent inspection had found issues with the roof and the electrical panel. The issues needed to be remedied within 30 days or coverage would lapse. This is serious, I said. It's just paperwork. David's handling it. He's hearing contractors. Don't worry about it. I want to see the inspection report. I'm sure he has it. I'll ask him to send it to you. The report never came. When I asked again, Elise looked annoyed. Margaret, you have to trust us. We're managing it. You stressing over every little detail isn't good for you. Your blood pressure was up at your last checkup, remember? I did not remember that. My doctor had said my blood pressure was excellent. A few days before Christmas, a real estate agent called. She asked if I was still considering selling the house. She had a client very interested. I am not selling my house, I said. Oh, my apologies. Your daughter-in-law, Elise, contacted our office. She said you were exploring options for a senior living community and needed a market appraisal. No, that is not correct. There was an awkward silence. I see. Well, sorry to bother you. I sat down after the call. My hands were trembling. This was no longer about convenience. This was about my home. I called David. It went a voicemail. I left a calm message. I asked him to call me. He called that night. He sounded tired. Mom, what's up? I told him about the real estate agent. I kept my voice level. He sighed. That was a misunderstanding. Elise was just being proactive. We're not selling anything. But Mom, you have to admit the house is a lot. The insurance issue is major. The roof might need a full replacement. That's $80,000. Your savings can't handle that. I have equity. I can get a loan. At your age, with your income, the terms would be predatory. It's not financially prudent. What is the alternative, David? We've found some beautiful assisted living places, not nursing homes, beautiful apartments. With meal service activities, you'd have more friends, more security. We could sell the house, invest the proceeds. It would fund your care comfortably for the rest of your life. The phrase, the rest of your life, hung in the air. It was a closing door. This is my home, David. It's a house, Mom, a building. It's filled with memories, I know, but memories don't fix roofs. His tone hardened slightly. You're being emotional. This is a logical decision for your safety and your financial future. I don't want to discuss this anymore. We have to discuss it. The insurance lapses in 3 weeks. If something happens, you're completely liable. You could lose everything. I can't let you make that choice. It's my choice to make. Not if you're not thinking clearly. He said it softly, almost sadly. Elise has been keeping notes, the missed appointments, the confusion with the bank, the forgetfulness. We're worried, Mom. We may need to look at a more formal arrangement for your own protection. The threat was clear. Guardianship, conservatorship. He was a lawyer. He knew how to do it. I am thinking perfectly clearly, I said. My voice was a whisper. I know you believe that. We'll talk more after the holidays. Try to enjoy Christmas. The line went dead. I did not enjoy Christmas. Claire came to visit. Elise and David came for Christmas Day dinner. It was tense and polite. Elise had brought the entire meal pre-cooked. It was perfect. It tasted like nothing. After they left, Claire helped me clean up. What's going on, Mom? She asked. David seems different, so does Elise. They think I should sell the house, move into assisted living. Claire put down a plate. Why? I told her about the insurance, the roof, the subtle suggestions of my declining capacity. Claire's face darkened. That's bullshit. You're sharper than I am. This house is in great shape. We should get a second opinion on the roof. David says it's necessary. David isn't a contractor. She looked at me. Her artist's eyes were keen. Mom, did you sign something for them? A power of attorney? I nodded. Can I see it? I got the copy from my desk. I had made one before I mailed the original. Claire read it. Her expression grew more serious with each paragraph. Mom, this isn't limited. This gives him total control over everything. He can sell your house without your permission if he decides it's in your best interest. He can change your will. He can do almost anything. The cold feeling spread from my chest to my limbs. He wouldn't, I said, but I was no longer sure. I think you need a lawyer, your own lawyer. The idea felt traitorous, suing my own son, but Claire was right. This was beyond a family disagreement. This was a legal shift of power. I had signed it away. Okay, I said. Claire found a lawyer for me. Her name was Anya Sharma. She specialized in elder law. We met in her office the first week of January. It was a quiet, orderly space. I told her everything, from the first visit with the coffee to the Christmas threat. I showed her the power of attorney document. I showed her the insurance letter. Anya listened. She took notes. She asked precise questions. When you signed this, did you have independent legal advice? No. Did anyone explain the full extent of the powers granted? They said it was for bills and repairs. Did you feel pressured? I thought about it. I felt cared for until I didn't. Anya nodded. The law requires informed consent for a power of attorney. If you were misled about its scope, it may be voidable. But we have to prove that. The first thing we need to do is revoke it, formally, in writing. We'll send it by certified mail to David and to every financial institution. What will he do? He may challenge the revocation. He may try to use the existing document quickly before it's officially undone. We need to move fast. We also need to get a proper inspection of your home to counter the insurance claim. She drafted the revocation letter. I signed it. She notarized it. She sent it that afternoon. 2 days later, David called. He was furious. What is this, Mom? Hearing a lawyer after everything we've done for you. I needed my own advice, David. This is insane. This lawyer is filling your head with nonsense. She's after your money. They all are. She works for me. I pay her. With what money? I control your accounts now, remember. I'm not authorizing payment to some ambulance chaser. He had played his card. My breath caught. You wouldn't. To protect you? Absolutely. I'm freezing your accounts today, all of them, for your own safety. until we can get a court to appoint a proper guardian. You've clearly lost your judgment." The call ended. I sat in my quiet kitchen. The hum of the refrigerator was the only sound. I felt a profound calm settle over me. The pretense was over. The war was declared. It was a quiet paper war, but it was a war nonetheless. I called Anya. She was not surprised. "Okay," she said. Her voice was steady. "This is a hostile act. We file for a temporary restraining order. We ask the court to freeze the accounts in asterisk your asterisk name, preventing him from accessing them. We petition to invalidate the power of attorney entirely. We have a lot of work to do." Work, that was the word. This would be my new work, my purpose. I started a journal, a simple lined notebook. I wrote down every interaction. Dates, times, quotes. I noted the missed appointment that never was, the bank error, the real estate agent. I began to gather paper. I found the file from the financial advisor, Charles. I read it closely. I saw a recommendation to transfer a large sum from a growth-focused mutual fund into a low-interest annuity. The fees for the transfer were high. The commission to Charles would have been substantial. David had recommended this. I made a copy. I highlighted the fees. I called the insurance company myself. I waited on hold. I finally got a supervisor. I asked for a copy of the inspection report to be sent directly to me. She emailed it. I opened it. The inspector's notes were clear. The roof had approximately 5-7 years of remaining life. It did not require immediate replacement. The electrical panel was noted as older but functional, not a code violation. The issues had been dramatically overstated in the non-renewal letter. I called the inspector. He confirmed his findings. He said he'd been surprised by the insurance company's severe reaction. He said my son had called him, asking if he could shade the report a little darker to help motivate a sale. The inspector had refused. I wrote it all down, name, date, time. Anya filed the emergency motion in court. A hearing was set for 3 weeks away. The court issued a temporary order. My accounts were frozen to all asterisk parties, including me, pending the hearing. It was a blunt instrument. I had to ask Anya for a loan to buy groceries. The humiliation was precise and cold. David was served with the papers. He responded through his own lawyer. His filing was a masterpiece of concern. It painted a picture of a declining, stubborn widow, a woman forgetting stove burners and missing important calls, a woman vulnerable to financial predators. It cited the excellent care he and his wife provided. It included a declaration from Elise. She listed instances of my supposed confusion. She mentioned the Thanksgiving insistence on an impractical family gathering. She noted my paranoia about the real estate agent. The word paranoia was used 3 times. My job was to be calm, to be factual, to be the opposite of paranoid. Anya prepared my declaration. I stuck to facts. I did not accuse. I described. I attached documents. The bank statement showing the mysterious reverse transfers, the inspector's report. The notes from my doctor stating my cognitive health was excellent. The hearing was not in a dramatic courtroom. It was in a small beige conference room. A court commissioner presided. David was there with his lawyer. Elise sat behind him. She did not look at me. David's lawyer spoke first. He was polished. He spoke of duty, of a son's love, of the painful necessity of stepping in. He called their actions protective, not predatory. Then it was Anya's turn. "Commissioner, this is not a case about capacity. It is a case about control. My client signed a power of attorney under false pretenses. She was told it was to pay utility bills. She was not told it gave her son the power to sell her home out from under her." She laid out the evidence, methodically. She showed the timeline, the help that escalated, the suggestions that became decisions, the manufactured crisis with the insurance, the attempted quiet sale of the house. She saved the financial advisor's document for last. "Most tellingly, Commissioner, just weeks after obtaining this sweeping power, Mr. Walsh directed his mother's finances toward an investment that would have generated a significant commission for his colleague and locked up her liquidity. This is not protection. This is financial manipulation. David's lawyer objected. It was argumentative. The commissioner looked tired. He looked at the documents. He looked at me. He looked at David. "Mr. Walsh," he said, "your mother is here. She is articulate. She has retained counsel. She has presented evidence contradicting your claims of incapacity. The power of attorney is revoked as of today by this order. The temporary freeze on the accounts will remain for 14 more days, during which time your mother will provide the bank with a new limited power of attorney, if she chooses, to someone other than you. You will return all financial records in your possession to her within 72 hours. You will have no further managerial role in her affairs." It was a victory, a quiet procedural victory. David's face was stone. Elise gathered her purse. They left without a word. I went home. The house was silent. It felt different. It felt like a battlefield after the troops had left. The victory felt hollow and heavy. 2 days later, a courier delivered a box. It contained my files. Bank statements, tax returns, the deed to the house. It was all there. On top was a single sheet of paper. A note from David. "Mom asterisk. I hope you're satisfied. You've chosen to listen to strangers over your own family. You've destroyed our relationship over a misunderstanding. I was only trying to help. I still love you, but I don't know how to be your son anymore. David." I read it 3 times. I felt a deep, aching sorrow. This was the true cost. This was the aftermath. I had won my freedom. I had lost my son. I placed the note in my journal. I closed the cover. The next few months were spent rebuilding. I opened new bank accounts. I met with a new, independent financial advisor. I had the roof inspected by 2 more companies. Both said it was fine for years. I got new insurance. Claire visited more often. We painted together in my dining room turned studio. The silence was companionable. I heard nothing from David or Elise. Birthdays passed. No call. Then in the summer, the second attack came. It was not from David. It was from Elise. I received a formal notice from a collection agency. It was a demand for payment of $28,750 for services rendered. The attached invoice was from Elise's event planning company. It listed itemized charges over the past 18 months. Senior care coordination, household management services, financial advisory liaison, medical appointment facilitation. The hourly rate was $150. She had been billing me for her help. The shock was physical. I felt it in my chest. The audacity was breathtaking. The cruelty was in its petty, bureaucratic form. I sent the notice to Anya immediately. "This is a common tactic," Anya said. "When the direct control fails, they try to recoup perceived value. It's frivolous, but we have to respond. If we ignore it, they could get a default judgment." We responded. We denied the debt in full. We demanded proof of a contract, proof of my agreement to pay for these services. Elise's lawyer provided a document. It was a single page, a services agreement. It was signed with my name, dated around the time of the power of attorney. I stared at the signature. It was a good forgery, but it was not mine. The slant was wrong. The pressure was wrong. I knew my own hand. "I did not sign this," I told Anya. "We'll need a handwriting expert." It cost money, more of my money, fighting a phantom bill for services I never requested. The injustice was a slow burn. The expert compared the signature to dozens of my known signatures, my driver's license, tax returns, old letters. His conclusion was definitive. The signature on the services agreement was highly probably not written by the same hand. It was a simulation. Armed with this, Anya did not just defend. She went on the offensive. She filed a counterclaim for abuse of a vulnerable adult, for financial exploitation, for fraud. The legal machinery ground on. Depositions were scheduled. Elise was deposed first. Anya asked her calm, methodical questions. When did Mrs. Walsh agree to hire you? It was an informal understanding. She was grateful for the help. Where was this agreement discussed? In her kitchen, many times. Did you ever present her with an invoice prior to sending it to collections? It wasn't necessary, she knew. Did you ever tell her your hourly rate was $150? She never asked. Did you inform her you were keeping track of your hours for billing purposes? It was implied in our relationship. It was a performance of breathtaking arrogance. She believed her own narrative, that her time was so valuable, that her intrusion was a gift worth charging for. My deposition was shorter. I answered yes or no when I could. I was factual. I showed no anger. The case was heading toward a trial. The legal costs were mounting for both sides. Then, a week before the pretrial conference, David's lawyer contacted Anya. They wanted to settle. The offer was simple. They would drop the collection claim entirely. They would pay my legal fees related to that claim. In exchange, I would drop my counterclaim. A clean walk away, no admission of wrongdoing. Anya advised me to take it. A trial is a gamble, Margaret, even with the evidence. Juries are unpredictable. This way, you are made whole. You are free of them. You secure your home and your finances. That is the goal. What about the admission of guilt? I asked. There won't be one. That's the point of the settlement. It ends here quietly. I thought about it for a long time. I sat in my garden, the one Robert and I had planted. I wanted vindication. I wanted a judge to point at them and say, "You did wrong." But that was the theater I had sworn to avoid. Quiet justice was not about spectacle. It was about safety. It was about removing the threat, permanently. "I'll take it," I said. The settlement agreement was drafted. It included a mutual non-disparagement clause. We all signed. The money for my legal fees was wired to Anya's trust account. The collection lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice. My counterclaim was dismissed. It was over. A month later, I received a letter from David's law firm. It was formal. It stated that, at his request, he was being transferred to their Singapore office. Permanently. He and Elise were relocating immediately. It was his final message. He was leaving the country. He was erasing himself from my life as thoroughly as he had tried to erase my autonomy. I felt no triumph, only a deep, weary finality. That was 2 years ago. My life is quiet again. The rhythms are my own. I paint. I read. I have lunch with Claire when she visits. I have coffee with my neighbor, Ben. We talk about his woodworking. We never talk about what happened. The house is just a house again, not a prize to be won, not a symbol of my independence. It is simply where I live. Sometimes, in the deep quiet of the afternoon, I think about that first morning, the doorbell ringing, the 2 coffee cups, the folder on my kitchen table, the kindness that was not kindness, the care that was a cage. I got my life back, but I lost my son, not to death, but to something worse, to a choice he made, to see me not as a person, but as a problem to be managed, an asset to be optimized. The justice was procedural. It was documented. It was calm. It left no visible scars. But the question remains. It echoes in the quiet spaces of this house I fought so hard to keep. The question is not why he did it. Greed and control are simple motives. The question is quieter, more personal. It is the question I will take with me. When did he stop being my little boy? And when did I become the signature he needed to take everything else? Devam edier, ikinsai visan burlum ashagitidir. I received the official closing statement from Anya's office. All accounts were reconciled. The settlement was final. There was nothing left to file, to contest, or to sign. The finality of it was a physical thing, a hollow space where the tension had lived. I started sorting through the attic, not because I needed to, but because the action felt symbolic. I was clearing out the old, making space. In a cardboard box marked David's school, I found his childhood drawings. Stick figure families with giant smiles. A crayon house with a bright yellow sun. I found report cards. Teacher notes. A pleasure to have in class. I found the Mother's Day card he made me in 2nd grade. It was construction paper glued with macaroni. It read in wobbly letters, "To the best mom." I did not cry. I felt a distance, as if I were examining artifacts from a lost civilization. The boy in these drawings was not the man with the lawyer. They were separate people. The line between them was a mystery. I closed the box. I did not throw it away. I placed it back on the shelf. I began to volunteer, 2 days a week at the local library. I helped sort book donations. I sometimes read to children during story hour. The work was simple. It got me out of the house. It connected me to the living world in a small, gentle way. One afternoon, I saw a woman at the library. She was maybe 50. She was with her elderly mother. The mother used a walker. The daughter's voice was sharp with impatience. "Just pick one, Mom. We don't have all day." The old woman's hands trembled over the large print novels. Her eyes were anxious. She kept looking at her daughter's face for a clue. I recognized the tone. It was not the smooth, poisonous kindness Elise had used. It was a rougher, more honest irritation. But the effect was the same, a diminishing, a silencing. I walked away. It was not my place to intervene, but I saw it everywhere now. The quiet wars in supermarket aisles, the side frustrations in doctors' waiting rooms, the architecture of control built brick by brick from duty and resentment. I was not special. My story was a variation on a theme. That knowledge was strangely comforting. A year after the settlement, I updated my will. I sat with a new lawyer, a friend of Anya's. I was clear. The house, my investments, my personal effects, everything was to go to Claire. A small, separate trust was established for any future grandchildren David might have. It was structured for their education only. It bypassed him entirely. The lawyer read THE Chinese letter back to me. "This is a decisive document, Margaret. It leaves nothing to your son. Courts generally uphold a testator's wishes, but he could contest it. He would likely lose, given the history, but he could try." "Let him try," I said. My voice was calm. It was not a challenge, it was a fact. I signed it. The witnesses were a paralegal and the lawyer's secretary. There was no neighbor in a garage this time, no coffee on the table, just the dry, important click of a pen. I sent a copy of the new will to David. No covering letter, just the document mailed to his office address in Singapore. It was not a provocation. It was a notification. He needed to know the consequences were cemented, that the path he chose had a final destination. He never acknowledged it. My days found a new rhythm. I took a watercolor class. I was not very good, but I enjoyed the way the colors bled on the paper. I joined a history lecture series at the community college. I made a few acquaintances, not close friends, but people to say hello to. Claire came for a long visit in the spring. We planted a new rose bush in the garden, a peace rose. We worked in the soil, our hands getting dirty. We didn't talk much about the past. We talked about her art, about a man she was seeing, about the new novel I was reading. It was normal. It was the greatest gift I had regained. One evening, we were washing the dinner dishes. The sunset was painting the sky in streaks of orange and purple. Claire dried a plate, her hands moving slowly. "Do you ever hear from him?" she asked. She didn't say his name. "No," I said, "not a word." "Do you want to?" I looked out the window. The colors were deepening. I don't know what there would be to say. "I'm sorry" isn't enough. "You were wrong" is just a fact we both know. There's no conversation left. She nodded. She understood. "He was my hero when we were kids," she said softly. "He was so smart. He always knew what to do." "I know," I said. We finished the dishes in silence. After Claire left, the house settled back into its solitude. But it was a different kind of quiet now. It was not the quiet of waiting for the next blow. It was the quiet of peace. It was spacious. It allowed for thought. I began to write, not a journal of evidence, just observations, descriptions of the light on the hardwood floor in the afternoon, the way the old maple tree in the yard shed its seeds in a slow, spinning dance, the sound of rain on the roof. I was documenting a life, my life, as it was in its plain, unmanaged state. It was a kind of rebellion, to notice the small things, to claim them as wholly mine. Then, last month, I received an email. It was from David, his personal address. The subject line was blank. The message was short. Mom asterisk. Elise and I are divorcing. It's been difficult. I hope you are well. David. I read it a dozen times. I looked for subtext, for a plea, for an apology. There was none. It was a statement of fact, a bulletin from a distant land. I felt nothing at first. Then a slow swell of sorrow, not for him, not for Elise, for the catastrophic waste of it all. The marriage that began as a partnership in caring for me was ending. The project had failed. The asset had proven problematic. I did not reply. A reply would have been a form of engagement, a reopening of a channel I had carefully, painfully closed. His message felt like a probe, a testing of the waters, to see if the bridge, though burned, could still bear weight. I let it sit in my inbox. I did not delete it. I did not answer. That was the final, quiet lesson. Justice was not about his consequences. It was about my choice, the power to not engage, the dignity of silence. My story, the one you've been listening to, is over. The legal battles are done. The documents are filed. The house is mine. My days are my own. I get up each morning. I make my coffee, 2-level scoops. I sit at my kitchen table, the same table where the folder once lay. I look out at my garden. The peace rose is blooming. Its petals are creamy white, edged with pink. I am here. I'm intact. The victory is in the quiet, in the unremarkable safety of an ordinary Tuesday. But you asked for a final reflection, one haunting, reflective question. It is not about him. It is about me. It is about the line we all walk. How much of the love we accept is just a softer form of control? And when do we finally become quiet enough to hear the difference?